Most indie games struggle to get noticed, but Balatro didn't. It made $1 million within hours with a game that looks like this. No realistic graphics, no massive budget, no AAA marketing. So either this is luck or there's a system behind it. Spoiler alert, it wasn't luck, it was a system. To understand that system, let's rewind. Before the millions, before the awards, Balatro was just an idea, a poker-based roguelike deck building game. It sounds complicated, but once you play it, it feels dangerously simple. And that simplicity was both its biggest strength and its biggest problem. Because visually, it looked underwhelming. No explosions, no characters, no story-driven drama. Just numbers, cards, and multipliers. In a market full of AAA games, Balatro had nothing flashy to sell, and that's usually a death sentence. Now meet the developer, Local Thunk. No massive following, no big studio, just one guy building something he liked. So he did what most indie devs do. He dropped the first demo, posted about it on Reddit, and nothing happened. Zero upvotes, no traction, no hype. This is where most games die. But then something strange happened. A streamer picked it up, not because of marketing, but because of word of mouth. And suddenly, 5,000 people were playing the demo. Now, that might not sound huge, but for a game with no marketing, no audience and no reputation, that's a signal. Because people weren't just trying it, they were addicted. Some players spent 5 to 6 hours in a demo limited to 50 rounds, others literally edited the game files just to keep playing. That's when PlayStack, the publisher, stepped in. They saw something special and got in touch with Local Thunk. Now, here's where things get difficult. Balatro was almost unmarketable. It had static visuals, no cinematic moments, and no viral screenshots. It couldn't compete with AAA games. The communications director at PlayStack even said that Balatro was the pain in the assets to market. So the problem becomes, how do you market a game that doesn't look impressive but feels incredible? PlayStack had seen this problem before with the case of the Golden Idol, a game that they published which has overwhelmingly positive review on Steam. Their solution was simple: don't try to sell the game, let players sell it. This became their entire strategy for Balatro. They came up with the Wheel of Attention. It had 3 parts: media, influencers, and community. Their plan was to make Balatro popular in the gaming industry by activating this Wheel of Attention. But here's the catch. At the start, you have none of this. No press, no audience, no hype. So, where do you begin? They knew there was an audience for this game, and the first demo already proved the audience retention. So for the next demo, they focused on one thing: influencers. But not the obvious ones. They didn't email the top 10 Twitch streamers because that almost never works. Instead, they asked a better question: who already plays games like Balatro? Using tools like Sully Genome, they found creators who played games like Slay the Spire and The Binding of Isaac, games with similar audiences, and then they targeted those creators. Because those creators didn't need much convincing to play it, but they still made sure their pitch was strong, sometimes even customizing it. At the same time, they optimized the demo experience with optimized Steam pace, stronger CTAs, and a proper feedback systems. Then they did something subtle. They released a second demo during Steam Next Fest. Even though it wasn't officially part of it, players assumed it was and tried it anyway. This time, it exploded. Hundreds of hours were streamed on Twitch, tens of thousands of hours were watched, YouTube views crossed over 1 million. Streamers started saying things like, "This might be the best roguelite this year. This is the most fun strategy game I have played in a long time." And just like that, the influencer part of the wheel was activated. At the same time, they built a community by creating a Discord server, which hit 10,000 members in weeks, and they used it cleverly. When someone streamed a game, they promoted it inside the Discord. That sent viewers to the stream, which encouraged streamers to play more, which created more content. A perfect feedback loop. This is how the graph looked for the second demo. It was way better than the first one. Now only one part of the wheel remained: the media. For that, they changed the marketing strategy. This time, they used data from their demos. They showed that the game was the #1 most played demo on Steam. It generated tens of thousands of wish lists. Players were spending an average of 6 hours in the demo. That's the kind of data media can't ignore, and they didn't. People were actually paying attention. With that, the wheel of attention started spinning, but the work wasn't done yet. They still had to announce the release date, appear in the actual Steam phase, and think about post-launch support. By now, Balatro had momentum. Influencers were playing it, the community was growing, media was starting to notice. But PlayStack knew something important. Momentum isn't enough. You need a moment. So, they created one. Instead of running ads or dropping a traditional trailer, they organized a tournament called Jimbo's Invitational before their next phase demo. 6 streamers, 24 hours, 1 goal. Get the highest score. No one was paid, no big sponsorships, just a custom game built with leaderboard and something incredibly powerful, competition. But here's where it gets genius. The reward wasn't money, it was 200 game keys for the winner's audience and 100 keys for each participant. One streamer played for 19 hours straight, no breaks, completely locked in, losing her mind on stream. That moment couldn't be scripted, it couldn't be faked, and with this, they had content. They used footage from the tournament in trailers, on the Steam page, and across social media. Suddenly, Balatro didn't look like a boring card game anymore. It looked like an experience people couldn't stop playing. Then, launch day came. They had influencers playing, the community was hyped, media covering it. The wheel of attention was spinning at full speed, and with one push, Balatro made 1 million within hours. But it didn't stop there. They kept the wheel spinning. They released a physical edition because fans wanted it. They added fun collaborations with games like The Witcher, Dave the Diver, Among Us, and Assassin's Creed. These weren't forced promotions, just fun community-driven content that made players say, "Wait, that's in this game." Then came the mobile launch at the perfect time. When clones were appearing, they moved fast and captured the market early. And their marketing stayed unhinged. Memes, weird trailers, random posts, and somehow it worked. Because once a brand is loved, you don't need perfection, you need personality. And because of all this, even 2 years after launch, around 10,000 players are still playing it daily, while some big budget AAA games came and shut down not long after, struggling to keep players around. So what actually made Balatro work? Not luck, not ads. It was smart marketing around a game people already loved. They amplified word of mouth instead of forcing attention. They understood that everyone can be an influencer. They used demos as a marketing tool, especially when visuals weren't enough. They targeted the right creators where relevance mattered more than reach, and they built momentum before launch so that release day felt like an explosion. But here's the catch. You can't copy this. What worked for Balatro won't work exactly the same for you. Because in the end, marketing doesn't make something succeed. It only amplifies what's already working. And Balatro was something people couldn't stop talking about.